Dr. Gaurisha, sir?
Good morning. Hope I'm visible and audible. My voice is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, can we start the webinar, sir? Gaurisha, sir, can okay. I am audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible, sir. Hope my voice is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear, sir. Can we start the program, sir?
Yeah, please, sir. Sorry, I'm late.
No issues, sir.
Due
No
to
issues.
technical issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, all the participants from the Tamil Nadu, especially the vice chancellors, principal, professors of various higher education institutions across Tamil Nadu. Today, I am very happy to say the huge response from the Tamil Nadu higher education institutions. We received more than 2,500 registrations for this webinar. And also, already I am seeing 1,000 together participants are already joined. So some of the people are in the webinar, means in the WebEx, and we sent another 1,000 plus links to YouTube link. So they are watching the live stream of our this webinar. So today, the webinar title is the NEP sensitization, especially the awareness about the NEP in the implementation, implementation in the higher education, and also the motivation of the higher education institute to improve their quality culture, especially to come forward for the NAAC assessment accreditation. So this is the motto of our webinar. So today with us an eminent speaker and also one of the a technical person in the NEP draft committee also. So today is our Gaurisha sir. He's from SES. So just I am giving a small introduction about the Gaurisha sir. So then we will start the webinar. Gaurisha sir is the professor and director. He holds the MBA with the specialization in finance and marketing, MPhil in management and PhD from Bangalore University from management. He has the experience in quality management and accreditation of higher education institution. His areas of interest includes quality in education and management, education institution. His areas of interest includes quality in education and management of NGOs, especially. He worked as a chief consultant in the technical secretariat of committees to draft national education policy. This is headed by the renowned space scientist Dr. K. Kasturirangan, which was constituted by MHRD previously, now the Minister of Education. He also served as a honorary secretary and treasurer of CLAMS at it is a Bengaluru-based famous NGO. He has been involved in many research pursuits in the area of education. He has presented and published research articles at various national and international level conferences, programs, and also he delivered many lectures on various topics, especially related to quality of education, and also involves in technolog learning. He has delivered more than 35 lectures on national education policy at various national seminars and webinars. He is a visiting faculty of MBA department of Bangalore University also. Sir, today we are very happy you are with us. You know the feel and touch of the NEP, and also probably you are going a very good suggestions to all the higher education institution to which will be very helpful to implement in the NEP in their higher education institutions. Sir, heartily welcome to this webinar on behalf of NAAC family, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the nice
Also, I
introduction.
welcome all the participants. I request the participants to kindly listen the speech of our Gaurisha sir. After the presentation, we will give the chance to each participant. You can type your queries or questions in the chat box so that we will read and Gaurisha sir will respond. And also we will give some chance to the audience to unmute and they can ask the oral questions also. Thank you very much. Over to Gaurisha sir to take over. Namaste.
Thank you, Vishnu, myself, for that nice introduction. Let me share my presentation. If you allow through your system, I can share my presentation.
Usha madam, kindly allow Gaurisha sir to share the PPT.
Yeah, it is very nice that NAAC is conducting series of interactive sessions online for stakeholders of education. Uh, Basically, people who are uh, involved in administration and governance of institutions, teaching learning process at various universities and colleges. I think it is uh, very good that this kind of an exercise have been undertaken by NAC, and that too region-wise and state-wise. I think very good initiative. Let me congratulate Director Sir and the entire team of NAC for this initiative. It is my privilege to be part of this program as uh, while drafting the policy, being involved in some capacity, done a lot of work in drafting it and the very initial stage of the policy. And now nice it is we are interacting with a lot of people. We had a lot of consultations as part of NEP Technical Secretariat and also as part of SES once it is approved by Cabinet in 2020. And now it is very nice to interact with people of diverse nature and get that a grassroots level kind of an understanding and take the inputs and further add it for the to build the strategies for implementation. In that context also, this type of interactive sessions or online webinars or conferences become more relevant. I think this is one such event that I'm addressing today among the many which I had done earlier. So this is very special because NAC has taken personal interest to link the entire NEP implementation focus towards NAC assessment and accreditation. I think there is a lot of relationship or link between this NEP implementation and then accreditation, assessment and accreditation process. Let me start from there before I get into the vision and other related aspects. The NEP talks about autonomous degree granting college. So every institution of higher education must become autonomous college, autonomous, completely autonomous universities, whether it is run by state government or central government or private. They must get autonomy, that what we call 360-degree autonomy, academic autonomy, administrative and financial autonomy, whatever that we normally use the different nomenclature. If you would like, if any institution would like to become the uh, autonomous, reach that kind of an autonomous status, there must be a rigorous assessment and accreditation process. Of course, it is graded autonomy, but now NEP has suggested for many reforms. Then by implementing all those things over a period of 10 to 15 years, with a rigorous assessment and accreditation process, how that every institution can achieve that kind of a status of autonomy. I think in that context, this session is very relevant by linking this entire process of implementation of NEP, strategies for implementation, how institutions are coming out with, and linking it to the NAAC assessment and accreditation. So otherwise also if you take the quality dimension, this is very important to understand the spirit of the policy. Yeah, of course. There are many pillars for the NEP. Even the previous NEPs also, education policies at the national level also talked about those pillars like equity and inclusivity, affordability, accessibility, and of course, quality is also a part of many higher education reforms reports. But here, the important thing, the bottom line is how to provide access to affordable quality education to all, access to affordable quality education to all. That's the whole idea of NEP. And of course, we would like to restore the glory of Indian education system that we had earlier through our own education system uh, by considering all the present day requirements, future challenges, how to build that kind of an education system and the culture towards building that kind of a knowledge economy. Uh, Policy talks about the knowledge superpower. I think in that context also, the implementation of NEP and interactions, making such kind of strategies are becoming more relevant. So in that direction, so let me talk for next 40, 45 minutes on the various key ideas of NEP which is very important from the point of view of implementation at the higher education level. Let us understand, uh, if you look at the higher education part of the policy, there are three important changes are there. Structural changes, regulatory reforms, holistic and multidisciplinary education. So all the three are major changes that have been suggested in the policy and clearly defined the policy directions. So there are certain things which we can do at the institution level. Certain things we have to wait for the central and state governments to form their own regulations and give that kind of regulations and guidance to all of us for the implementation. Certain things we no need to wait for such kind of regulations and guidelines, that we can do internally a lot of exercises and preparatory work for implementation of NEP. So basically, understand the spirit of NEP and build that kind of a team to work for building strategies and roadmap, and involve every member within the institution to develop a plan, complete plan for implementation of NEP. And basically, institutionalization of this whole idea is very important. Even before we think of strategies for implementation of NEP, how to institutionalize these ideas. Acceptability part is fine, adaptability by considering the local requirements and the global challenges. That's where I think every institution need to work a lot, whether it is university or college or the institutions like responsible agencies like NAAC or any other such government agencies need to work in a very integrated way, where these institutions and different organizations interact in framing the strategies, so that what policy really envisions that can be made as a reality in the days to come. So this piecemeal approach will not work, not only in terms of the implementation of each idea, in terms of even the process, how you implement, and the people or the stakeholders, whether individuals or institutions or government or any other agencies, must work in an integrated way so that this policy can be implemented effectively. In that context, the one central thing that is quality as a mandate for every higher education institution. If you keep that as one of the points, how all the organizations and other related things can be integrated at that particular point can be considered as important thing for implementation of NEP. That's where I think we are here today to discuss or even deliberate upon the various key ideas of NEP. Let us understand there are three important changes that have been suggested in the NEP, that is structural changes, regulatory reforms, holistic and multidisciplinary education. And more interesting for faculty like me or people who are here in this particular session and the institutional heads, how to bring that culture of multidisciplinary in the institutions, and how to bring that approach of holistic education. There are two terms, holistic and multidisciplinary. So how to bring these two things in every program, how to integrate this. Number two, how to bring that basic culture of looking at the things in a multidisciplinary approach and integrate this entire different dimensions of education in a holistic manner. So that's where my session is going to focus in the initial stage. So as all of you know, policy envisions to make every institution to a large multidisciplinary institution, whether it is private or government. So they will become a autonomous degree granting college offering multidisciplinary programs. So every university and institution should become a multidisciplinary, because single stream higher education institutions will be phased out over a period of time during the implementation of the policy, and everybody will get that kind of a graded autonomy status, and we will get away from the affiliation system. So let us keep this as targets. We would like to achieve 50% of enrollment ratio. We would like to achieve quality mandate. Our target is to become autonomous degree granting college and get away from the affiliation system, and to become large multidisciplinary universities and colleges. Let us see, these are our realistic targets when we need to achieve over a period of 10 to 15 years time from now. So if we keep this as target, now let us work towards the strategies and mechanism, how we can approach this first. I think the very first thing, let us understand for implementation of policy, preparation for implementation. That it start from there. So we can launch the entire implementation not necessarily by taking some of the initiatives immediately, but if you launch the NEP, the first step is preparation for launching that NEP in the institutions, whether it is at micro level or at macro level. I think implementation starts at the preparation level. So if you launch preparation for NEP implementation, I think you are started your NEP implementation process, because we need to have a lot of deliberations on each idea. We need to see what is the real spirit of it and how to make it more contextualized, bringing it to your nativity, and then with the spirit of nationalism and the NEP, how you can really make strategies so that it will benefit all the stakeholders of education. Very importantly, the learners. That includes both teachers and students. I think these are some of the things all of you are aware, because these are all the key policy points. I'll not spend much time on this. So there are many universities are here. Always you can put a target. So when you would like to become a research intensive university, or at this point of time, if you feel that your university is a teaching intensive university, how to make it really a quality teaching with some amount of research which is very useful for the society and the nation, how to bring that kind of a culture. So that requires a lot of innovations in terms of even teaching and learning, and then of course the culture of research, and with that kind of a utility for your research, how to bring that. So I think both these type of institutions has to work towards building that kind of a quality, what is the parameters, by considering those kind of quality parameters, how to achieve the target which you are going to set. Of course, NEP is setting certain targets in terms of number of years and achievement. Government, I think they will come up with action plans, whether center or state, when to achieve and how and what. But I think each institution should must have that kind of a target realistically, which is possible for that particular university or college. So if you are aspiring to become a research intensive university, I think you have to do a lot. Then in what direction you have to move? So what are those requirements? 1, 2, 3. I think that's where I think every university needs to work. If every college has to become autonomous degree granting college, what are those requirements? How to achieve those? When to achieve? You can set your own targets. This policy has given, it has empowered every stakeholder of education, basically every institution and individual who are working in the institutions, to set their own targets, and NEP gives a direction to set your own goals so that you can work towards that. So it gives that kind of empowerment and also flexibility to move ahead in policy implementation and give that benefit to the entire community. So I think these are the 3 types of institutions, and then regulatory reforms. These are very macro. The government or the related agencies, in consultation with experts and institutions and people who are involved in teaching learning process, they will come out with this kind of type of institutions, and then they will frame these regulatory agencies, whether it is single regulator called National Higher Education Regulatory Council, or a meta accrediting body called NEC, or Higher Education Grant Council, or the General Education Council. All this will come into reality in some in 1 or 2 years or in some time. So this will give a lot of clarity in the entire higher education system, because all these regulatory reforms are based on functional based approach. So regulatory function, assessment and accreditation function, financing function, and then the entire academic function. So each of this agency will take care of one function of higher education. So it's a functional based regulatory system that is going to come into force under the umbrella of Higher Education Commission of India. The very interesting part is GEC, National Higher Education Qualification Framework. So GEC is going to give, or even before we come out with the GEC, we may get a National Higher Education Qualification Framework. So that gives that second direction for developing all the programs. Each institution is completely have that autonomy to design their own program, provide their own content, use their own innovative pedagogy and better evaluation system, and certify that particular program. Now, at least the universities in the days to come, every higher education institution, you get a framework, National Higher Education Qualification Framework. This framework gives the direction how you need to develop your courses, what kind of evaluation system you need to develop, and what is the innovative pedagogy, what is the thinking behind all these innovative pedagogies and designing of these pedagogies. It gives only a framework at the national level. But every institution, not necessarily every state or union territory, every university, every college has that kind of a flexibility to develop their own by considering what is best for the students community so that they can address the challenges of the real-time life. So that's how the entire system is going to be built. That is what envisioned in the policy. So that is where we need to understand the spirit of the policy. I think the National Higher Education Qualification Framework is in the draft stage now. So anytime it take a shape and comes to the public domain, or maybe for feedback or even for further implementation of the same at the every institution level. So there are, as I mentioned very beginning of my session, there is something called micro level and macro level changes. These regulatory structural reforms is basically macro. I think we need to really think over about the micro changes, how to make the difference through our own strategies while implementing NEP so that we can provide the best in terms of education, in terms of teaching, learning, in terms of community services, in terms of engaging with society, all the various dimensions of education so that we can achieve all the quality parameters. If you look at the NAAC assessment and accreditation entire process and the criteria how they're set, right from the curriculum development, teaching, learning, research, it is not only research, it includes innovation and extension activities, community engagement activities, education institutions, and people who are involved in running and managing the institutions and who are involved in teaching learning process like teachers and students and principals, heads, or vice chancellors, registrar. Everybody has a responsibility towards society and community because the entire purpose of education to provide something to the society through the students, through the knowledge which we create, through the process which we follow in terms of teaching, learning, research. So NAAC has all this, and student support and services, best practices, entire quality system internally, how you build. I think it is something interesting because NAAC also gives that opportunity for every institution to build their own quality culture. Criteria are set, but you can build that culture within the institution for every aspect of the education and the institutional management. See, look at these components. It is not only talking about some knowledge component or only research. It is only talks about the evaluation system, what you have, what is that courses you are offering. It talks about how diversity is addressed, how equity is ensured. It talks about how you are giving support and all other related facilities for student development. What are those student service and faculty service schemes you have or the facilities you have? And community engagement. And it gives opportunity to think on your own innovative practices over a period of time that becomes a best practice you can benchmark. So that's the reason let us think more from the NEP. What are the key ideas are there? How I have to take it to my own institutional level, and I think even more importantly, is individual level. So that's the reason always in my sessions I talk about 3 I's. India level, that includes states, central, union territory, everything, India level, and then the institutional level. Third one is individual level. 3 I's must work properly, and it's not necessarily from top to bottom. The approach even can be from bottom to top, or more work to institutionalize, to individualize, internalize to the institutions all the NEP key ideas from the larger perspective of the country and the society's requirement. I think every institution and individual must think over. So I think NAAC also may come out with such kind of parameters in aligned with NEP with some modifications to the existing criteria, etc. a component of NEP has to be integrated within the NAAC. I think that when that comes to your door, when you start the implementation of NEP, fixing your own target to become a completely NEP ready institution, I think you have to achieve these quality standards or parameters. The NAAC will have that responsibility to ensure and enable every institution to accredit and get that kind of an autonomous status. And the very important thing in the entire policy, the very teaching learning approach. It is not only talking about all the regulatory administrative things, it has a lot of emphasis on academic things. A very approach for the program development, teaching learning process, evaluation system, and student engagement. That's where this holistic multidisciplinary education will come into picture. Policy aspects, every higher education institution must be a multidisciplinary educational institution, and they must use an outcome-based education system. There must be clearly specified learning outcomes. A learner-centric approach must be used. A lot of opportunity must be there for students' development and the holistic nature of education. In addition to the subjects which we offer, courses that we offer, there must be scope for all other activities like sports, cultural activities, what we normally call curricula, extracurricula, co-curricula, and other things. And let us understand, we must provide all this in an integrated approach. It become part and parcel of the main program that the university is going to offer. It must be a part of the mainstream education. It should not be an extracurricular activities or co-curricular activities. It must be integrated with curriculum. That's the reason this kind of holistic and multidisciplinary education talks about the overall development of the student by considering all the aspects. So that's where this kind of an education becoming more relevant. You look at the whole world, it is moving towards a kind of a multidisciplinary approach. Not necessarily educational institutions, even the work culture, whether it is IT industry or service industry or manufacturing industry or a lab or any other educational institution or even in NGOs, what I have observed, there is a need for an approach of problem solving or consider something that can be bring as a solution that needs a multi-dimensional approach. Any societal problem or economic problem or national problem or technology problem, whether it is private or public, whichever the bifurcation categorization you would like to make in the realistic world, in our own life problems, I think we need to have that kind of a multidisciplinary approach so that we can analyze the problems and we can definitely give a possible solutions which it will take care of all the aspects. Today, let us understand, we cannot ignore environmental issues. Whenever we develop some software, we cannot ignore the societal issues. We cannot ignore the health issues. We cannot ignore something that economic utility of that. So every aspect need to be considered while coming out with some solution, whether it is service or product or it is a personal life. That's where we need to develop that kind of a culture within the educational system to provide multidisciplinary education. We have many terms to use: interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary. So in a continuum from single disciplinary to multidisciplinary, it's all the approach that we need to set. So automatically that even integrates the holistic nature of education. So that's where I think so every education institution must work towards this. Right now, UGC is coming out with many guidelines. Right from 2018, they are doing this, but very recently they had given credits for all these aspects, for even community engagement, services, and NAAC has a lot of points for all these environmental issues, value-based education. Now, how to integrate all this? So that's where we need to discuss many things. If you look at the policy points, summarizes in this one particular slide, it talks about a 4-year duration degree program, either 3 or 4 year, but 4 year is really required to reap the benefit of entire that multidisciplinary education, benefit of the multidisciplinary education. So it talks about 4 year holistic and multidisciplinary undergraduate program. That's where every university need to work. We may get a guidelines or some of the universities, specifically in Karnataka, they already launched the 4 year undergraduate program with multi-entry exit option and some element of multidisciplinary approach and holistic nature. They have brought in their program structure. It's a very initial stage. They have launched it. I think in the days to come, it will have more such dimensions and become more rigorous. But they have launched it. So this is the where every university can think of how to build that kind of a undergraduate program with our subject specialization and how to integrate all other aspects, which is really important in these days. Not only the subject knowledge, in addition to subject knowledge, whether you call major, minor, the core courses, and then give a lot of scope for related and unrelated combinations. How to see while developing all this, learner is the important thing. Let us understand. While developing any multidisciplinary program, you must keep learner as the centric. How it be going to be useful for the student or the learner for a long period of time so that he can be ready to face the challenges. Let us understand normally education institutions will focus on placement, job, very important in the days to develop all those skills which is required for industry or any other sector which is there in our economy. Let us understand, somebody said, if you prepare only for first job, that is very limiting. I can't do that now. So I need to prepare them for first job, second job, third job. Students are not only changing their job or company or profile, they're changing their career, entire, the sector, the focus, it is changing for many of the students. So then for what we need to prepare them? So that's where we need to start our thinking. See, that's the reason in education we have different system. That is where the outcome-based education become more relevant. What is the outcome of entire this program? What we would like to see in the students? Accordingly, a reverse engine or a reverse process starts. This is what I would like to develop in students, whether you call it as graduate attributes or learning outcomes. So your entire 4 year multidisciplinary undergraduate program must have this kind of component and approach. Basically, I'm talking about the approach towards developing these courses. And it must be justified. Why this 4 year? There is something called skill development, integration of all vocational and professional and lifelong skills. And there is requirement for knowledge components. Of course, we cannot ignore the disciplinary things. And third one is you must even give a lot of scope for student development and to pursue their passion. Sometimes this co-curricular, extracurricular sports will add an advantage for student career and life. So how to integrate this? And of course, all other skills which is very much required for every student. How to inbuilt in one particular program, whether it is a science stream or whether it is a art stream or there is a commerce stream, whichever stream, how to bring this, basically how to build this culture of integrating all this. That's where the 4 year degree program is more appropriate and to make it as a par with the global standards also. And with appropriate certification at the each exit level, first year, second year, third year, that you know very well how it is going to be designed is the first thing every university need to think. You may get certain guidelines and some kind of credit requirements, etc. How you can innovatively, with all your expertise, how you can build the best program. Don't limit what is available for you in terms of teaching, number of hours, faculty. So normally that will be the case in many of the institutions where I'm interacting with them. They look at this all operational issues. It can be adjusted over a period of 1, 2, 3 years. Give that time for any new system to take a shape and adjust and make the things run on its own in a sustainable mode. So that's where the 4 year undergraduate program, no division of curricula, extracurricular, etc. And integration of all the vocational skill development. So that is very important. We need to give a lot of choice for the students to select their own courses, their own program, and build that particular kind of a program which really helps them so that they can get the synergy out of it. And what is there in our hand as a faculty in any university or college is the pedagogy. What is the best pedagogy I can use? See, we are defining while developing the curricula. We define the attributes to see that particular graduate. We define the learning outcomes. Our pedagogy must suit to this particular outcomes, because any learning outcome must be demonstrable. So student can demonstrate it. Then only we can call it as an outcome, learning outcome or graduate attributes. So if we would like to make our student to use it, apply it, demonstrate it, and we need to use that kind of content as well as the pedagogy. See, multidisciplinary education needs, it is not just the bringing disciplines and integrating, it is always how you teach, how learning happens. So that's where we need to invest a lot in terms of our time, discussion, to build, to come out with a very innovative, very appropriate, more than that, very appropriate pedagogy to teach these multidisciplinary courses. You must enable a lot of self-learning kind of thing, so that students will involve. We must engage them through experiential learning kind of thing. So from the first year, if they're able to understand the problem and solve the simple problems, let's go to the second year, they will have the even not properly defined problem also they will be able to solve. If you go to the further, the complex problems they will be solved. So like that, every year, first year, second year, third year, fourth year, through our multidisciplinary holistic education, we need to develop this kind of skills and attitude, and we must provide that kind of knowledge component where they can really, in the real time, not only within the classroom or labs, even the similar situation outside reality, real world situations, they can apply it. So that's where we need to use a kind of in pedagogy, and our pedagogical thing should also have a clear cut outcome. This is I would like to achieve from using this pedagogy. I interact for this purpose. I think all of us who are involved in teaching learning process, like faculty members, instructors, or even the lab people, must work towards that, to build that kind of an approach within the institution. I think continuous formative assessment is very much essential, because to completely reap the benefit of your multidisciplinary education, formative assessment is very essential. So what is that formative assessment? I think I no need to define, because all of you belong to the education community, you know very well. But what are those techniques we can definitely bring in to ensure the formative assessment? We will definitely have all our existing examination system, 3 hours paper, internal assessment test, assignments. Is there any other model that we can, or any other mode of assessment can we bring in for the continuous formative assessment? So I think we need to think a lot. There are many such strategies are available. How best it suits for your own requirements, your own institution, and the context that where you are working and the student requirements. I think we need to develop those strategies. I'm not getting to the policy point here, because all of you are aware, certificate, diploma, and other things. This is actually, let us understand, this program is 4-year undergraduate program, and there is exit point at every level. And let us understand this exit point, that we are not selling, or we are not creating, we are not developing, we are not offering a certificate program, diploma program. We are offering a degree program. Let us have the clarity first. There are number of students, considerable percentage in every institution. As I know, 3 to 5% it varies from institution to institution and state to state. Students are dropping out for various reasons. So if they complete even 2 years, they will be called as PUC pass. So we must give recognition for their 1 year, 2 year learning, and that can be used for an appropriate, even get an appropriate job with that kind of skill and little understanding of the knowledge component or the subject knowledge. So that's the reason we are certifying of your 1 year learning. So system will certify the 2 year learning. Nomenclature is certificate, diploma, whatever. And now, recent UGC guidelines on the multi-entry exit 4-year undergraduate program document talks about Actually, they are linking it to the skill framework. There is a national skill framework in our country. It is in par with international standards. That's what the claim of the ministry. This certification means that the first year, at the end of first year, the student must be achieved according to that skill level 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like that. So that means it has a lot of meaning. A very introductory knowledge of subject, but the generic skill will be more in the first year, and proportion will change when they move on or when they continue their degree program. Second year, it will be more of generic skill will be there, and again knowledge component will increase. So how you build this? So you need to think in different dimensions while building your program. So how much skill in the initial stage to achieve that level 5, so that your certificate becomes more valid, more credible in the different sectors of the economy. So whichever the subject they prefer, accordingly how we can bring in, how we can integrate this, how we can map this skill requirement. That's how you need to build your entire program. When you move on to the third year, fourth year, definitely the skill component, generic skill component become very less and more of vocational professional skills. And when you get into the third or fourth year, basically more of research orientation. So how you set your graduate attributes while developing the program? Accordingly, all your integration to achieve that level of certification diploma must be considered, so that when you do the evaluation every year or at the end after the 4 year, when you look at the student performance, if you're able to map it by using the technology, you must see that these attributes are achieved. So each level has its own meaning and must be achieved some level of skill and also knowledge component. Of course, research is also some kind of research orientation must also be given to the students. It is not only research methodology, subject teaching, orientation towards research. So how to, while developing a multidisciplinary program, please consider all these aspects. I think you know that 3-year degree means 2-year PG, 4-year bachelor degree means 1-year PG, 5-year integrated program also you can think of, 4-year undergraduate program with the research, then only they will be eligible for direct PhD admission. And there is some latest UGC guidelines has put one what is that check over there for 3 years, 7.5 CGP. If I'm not wrong, 7.5 CGPA score they must earn in 3 years. Then only they will be eligible to take up the 4th year research program. They can take honors directly, no issue. But if they have to take honors with research, so they must achieve some CGPA score at the 3 years level. Then only those students will get the admission for 4th year research program. They clear it, they will get eligibility to become to take the admission in PhD. So this is the path created. I think we need to work a lot at the undergraduate program level now at the very initial stage, so that accordingly we can gradually take it to the next level to build that. But please visualize this entire thing as a wholeness. Why? Because you are creating 4-year degree program. Please keep in your mind PG 1 year, 2 year, then PhD. So keep that in your mind while designing your UG program, so that you give that kind of a scope to have a new design even at the PG level without having much disturbances. It become an entirely new thing, but there will be no much of disturbances in terms of course development in the later stage. So accordingly, we must build our UG program. So there are a lot of opportunity to come out with the MEROs, multidisciplinary education research universities. I think this is one of the ambitious plan of the NEP. Every district must have one MERO. I think government must work towards very seriously towards having this kind of MERO in every district in all over the country. I think research and innovation, higher education institution must focus on this, incubation centers, technology development, and all this frontier area of research. I think you can definitely work through your programs, and faculty can can invest a lot of their time and all this, because that is very important. Even developing the curricula, whichever area, whether it is social science, humanities, science and technology, I think they need to invest a lot on all these while developing the course, because this is the future, or this is what going to be the reality for at least next 20 20, 30 years, not only in our country, in entire world. So that is the requirement for reimagining the entire vocational education. Of course, policy has talks about has talked about a new approach for vocational education. It talks about vocational education. Basically, we need to develop a vocational attitude right from the school education, and then we must give some kind of vocational training, and then we build completely vocational program. So I think stage wise we need to develop that kind of an attitude and then give that entire program. That's where BVOC degrees come into picture, and this BVOC will continue. But interesting thing is every 4-year undergraduate program will have component of vocational education. Depending upon the requirement of the program, vocational component will be there. It must be integrated one, and as a BVOC course, it has to be completely revamped, must be become more relevant for today's requirement with the latest industrial revolution status and other things. I think every institution is working towards that today, because government is even every state government and central government is working lot on the new age technology and other skills required, build vocational courses around that, so that it really helps the students and also the society and the country. So I think we need to give a new shape to vocational education, and how to bring that vocational component into the general 4-year multidisciplinary program. That also I think every universities must think about. So Loka Vidya is one of the important initiative that is suggested in the NEP. I think something that we need to understand from our own local community or the nearby locality, what is the requirement. So why can't we address those needs, and also why can't we use that resources which is available in terms of human resources or any other facilities, so that this objective of Loka Vidya can be achieved. Even the vocational courses, ODL model can also be developed, but I think it needs a different kind of thinking, and by designing the program, and also assessment and accreditation is also equally important for all, not only the vocational courses, even general online distance education learning. So I think if they're able to achieve in a sustainable mode that kind of a quality parameters, if they're achieved, and then only we must allow them to run such courses. Towards that, NAAC is also working. Let me continue this entire approach of multidisciplinary, the liberal arts approach. It's basically liberal arts approach. The question is why this is required now. So we need to develop or we must prepare our students to cater to the diverse needs and changes what is happening in the our employment sector or every sector of the economy. Today the entire world is moving team concept. Everywhere is teamwork. So when we work in teams, and that too team is not only with the same background, diverse background team will be there, because they need to come out with a solution, whether it is technology based or non-technology based, whether it is a humanities or social science or science. So I think that kind of a need is there today, and industry is working towards that, and even the NGOs are working in that passion today, as per my observation. So when we are able to appreciate and take the spirit of different dimensions and have that understanding why it is required, if I come out with some solution, some product, some kind of a approach for solve the societal problems, I must know the humanity factors, I know the societal factors, I must know the environmental factors, how to take all that. So when we work in teams towards that with a different disciplinary approach, we need to have that appreciation and understanding of different disciplines. We need to develop a complete T types professionals. It must have single disciplinary, complete depth knowledge, and multidisciplinary knowledge. That's completely the approach. And of course, the different skills, problem solving, critical thinking, analytical, project management, all the skills, what we call 21st century skills, it must be there. Then only we can call the T-shaped professionals, which is the requirement of the day today. So the approach is basically liberal arts or liberal arts science approach. When we operationalize that, we call it as multidisciplinary system. So this learning and mastery of curricula across fields through holistic and multidisciplinary approach that really increases the social moral awareness besides the general engagement and enjoyment of the entire learning. So we need this approach because we need to give that kind of education which provide it will definitely cater the needs which are related to intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, moral, any other thing, so that we can develop a well-rounded individuals with all the required capacities, competencies, so that they will face the challenges and risk in their life. That's where we need to build the competencies among the students in addition to giving the subject knowledge. So anything that comes up in their life, whether in professional life or personal life, they're able to face that challenges, learn new thing quickly. Are we building that kind of competencies among the students is the question mark. We must give that kind of confidence to students through our evaluation system. So that's where with lot of confusions and curiosity students will come. We must provide an enthusiastic learning environment throughout the program. Finally, if you are able to give the confidence among the students, I think we are done with our job. So that's where all these components is become more important. That is possible to make the students through liberal arts or multidisciplinary approach with a holistic nature of education. That's where NEP advocates for entire a new system of developing undergraduate programs. See, 21st century skills which we are talking about normally is very important to develop among every student. I think this is required for everybody. When it is required for faculty, it's required for every administrator, must have this 21st century skills. We need to provide this through our educational program. Whichever the degree program which you offer, I think we must keep while drafting, while preparing our learning outcomes, we must keep this in our mind. While developing content and pedagogy, we must give a lot of scope for development of these skills, and it must happen in an integrated way. We should not have a separate course for this skill development, personality development. No, every subject in a multidisciplinary approach, every subject, whether it is language or discipline core subject, or you give any other multidisciplinary option subjects, or it's an elective subject, how we can build these minimum skills which is required among the every student through the subject teaching and learning. Can we consider all this? So that's where, please let us have the discussion further in the days to come. How to build such a program and innovative pedagogy where skill development happens automatically as an integrated approach. I'm not telling that today we don't have all the skill development courses or even technical skills, research. Most of the institutions are on their own interest. They are doing this. They are spending a lot of money to train the students. Universities are having this kind of department cells, etc. But change the required change as per the NEP is must provide an integrated way. Sports is only sports, physical activity. Cultural activities separately. We never integrate with the mainstream education. Skill development as a separate component happens. We give a lot of computer technology training and we never integrate with the subjects. This is where the approach of multidisciplinary and holistic comes into picture and becomes more relevant. There is interrelationship between the subjects, between various disciplines, between skill and the subject knowledge. How to fulfill these gaps through an approach. That's where every institution need to think to develop their own program so that we'll have this approach of holistic and multidisciplinary. 21st century skills are one of the important component must be considered while developing any undergraduate program or any educational program at the higher education level. This learner-centric approach will have all the three components. So most of the times we think about curriculum in some syllabus developing and we give some skill development exercise or a practical exercise, what we call in science laboratory work. And finally, we will have the reference or textbooks, etc. So the curricula here means it is not only the syllabus. Syllabus is only one component. Curricula includes right from the learning outcomes which I state. Actually, learning outcomes that the promise as an institution, as an instructor, or as an individual faculty, I make to the students that if you join this program, this is what you are going to become. So right from setting that graduate attributes or learning outcomes, and then we prepare syllabus and content, then we use the innovative pedagogy, how the teaching learning happens, and then what is the evaluation system you have, how that you are ensuring it is not just assessing what they learned, it is ensuring the learning in an assessment system for learning, not of learning. So all this component includes in the curriculum development. So while drafting syllabus, please start from the very requirement and the outcomes that is you are expected from each of the course and work backwards and finally come out with your syllabus. That becomes more useful for the students. And it becomes it set a direction for every faculty, what level of preparation I have to do, what is that pedagogy I have to use, and how I have to engage the students through experiential learning, and what type of assessment I have to do. Is it only it happens through a formal system of assessment which prescribed by the university, or can I bring some other components? In Karnataka now they made the 40 marks for internal assessment and 20 marks for internal assessment test, etc. They had given, and 20 marks for all the seminars, discussions, and various other components. Even I am talking to some of the faculty, I have interacted with them and I told them, even you organize an event, a management fest, a cultural program, or a conference, students will involve in organizing, conducting, developing. What is it you're observing? That they are demonstrating skills, what they learned in your classrooms or out of the classroom learning. So why it is not considered at all while giving the assessment marks? There's so much to think and give a formal shape, how it can be bring it to the systematic way in a formal system. So I think all the three components must be part of the curriculum development while developing any programs for that matter under NEP or otherwise. So then we let us next 10 minutes I will take, hope it is fine with the organizers. Graduate attributes, learning outcomes, outcome-based education. I think we need to work towards this particular, otherwise we will never become accountable or responsible. We are all responsible institutions, heads and teachers, no doubt about it. But how to build this accountability within the system? This accountability is required for whole system. Institutions must be accountable, teachers must be accountable, learners, students also must be accountable. So you are defining clearly, this is my graduate attributes. Those students who go out of my university with an undergraduate program, these are the common graduates everybody will be fulfilled with, or they will be equipped with. And then of course the discipline or multidisciplinary courses or interdisciplinary courses, whichever they offer, whichever they opt, so they will have that subject knowledge. And of course, some kind of research skill is also required. I think National Higher Education Qualification Framework will give a broad picture of all this. That's what I believe. They will give this graduate attributes, how learning outcome should be there, what are those things. I think they will give a framework to us so that it gives a direction for our program development and pedagogy and assessment. So please, every university by developing your curricula, please consider these graduate attributes so that become every institution will become more accountable to equip their own students with these graduate attributes. See, this is not only stating the graduate attributes or program learning outcomes. Further, your content, your syllabus, your classroom delivery, engagement of students through the teaching learning process, pedagogy, and finally assessment must follow this particular system. It is not just statements, it's a system that we are going to develop internally as a part of our quality mandate or as part of our quality culture that every institution would like to build. I think NAAC assessment accreditation is actually having a component in teaching learning criteria 2, outcome-based education. They have introduced in the latest 2008, if I'm not wrong, 17, 18 criteria which they introduced the new assessment system 2017-18, if I am not wrong. They introduced this outcome-based education. So that it's a direction, what I have to teach and how I have to teach, what pedagogy I have to use, what content is required, and finally what I have to assess. So whether you take Bloom's taxonomy or any other concept or tool which is available. So we must ensure that the intended learning is happened and students are able to demonstrate it. That's where the graduate attributes, learning outcomes and outcome-based education come into picture. So if you look at the American Association of Colleges and Universities, they had given these 10 graduate attributes. UGC has come out with its own graduate attributes. Every institution can think of while developing their own undergraduate programs. Please ensure in your universities and colleges the discussion of curriculum development happens in an interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary culture or an context. It is not every department, chemistry department will develop chemistry and physics department will develop physics. Please don't do that. So all these science, arts, commerce people should come together to develop undergraduate programs. Of course, the focus will be on some disciplines will be there and you offer that. But what are the common graduate attributes? How you bring that element of relationship between these different disciplines so that students will get the real benefit of multidisciplinary approach. I think have that kind of cross disciplines or multidisciplinary approach in terms of deliberation for development of the entire curricula. That is how you need to work so that you will set a graduate attributes for across your undergraduate programs, and then there will be each program specific outcomes will be there. Then course outcome will be there. The entire system goes like this. Clearly defined attributes. The entire you bring that entire your system of quality under an outcome-based education system, and then what the student should be able to do, curricula, how make the students achieve that outcome, and then that is your learning and teaching, and finally assessment. So such kind of a initiative you must consider initially with some kind of an approach, gradually make it more rigorous so that over a period of time, 3 to 5 years, you build that system, a robust system, so that it becomes sustainable and also gives greater results for your institutions in terms of the results or in terms of students' achievement, all other aspects. And next 5 minutes, I'll talk on the academic bank of credit. So outcome-based education, multidisciplinary, online learning, development, or distance education, assessment, accreditation. So one important thing that is envisioned in the policy is student flexibility and movability. Student can move from one institution to another institution, or even multi-entry exit is there. They can come back after some number of years. So all the credits which they earn throughout their program will be stored digitally. So that's where your academic bank of credit is already gazetted. Now it is available. It is established for the benefit of the students community. The recognized institutions or the eligible institutions can become part of this initiative, where digitally the credits of the students will be stored and as well as it will be transferred. And if the students learn in different subjects in different institutions and finally bring all those credits into one platform to offer the degree or certification or diploma, whatever it is. So that is the whole concept of academic bank of credit. So an individual account with academic bank of credits opened and operated by student and university and college will involve, they will register for this and they can deposit, and these credits will be recognized, and this particular account will be maintained through technology, and transfer of the credits is possible, and it can be validated or it can be redeemed by students for the purpose of the award of the degree, whichever they have opted. So it's basically a digital or a virtual online store where the academic credits can be stored. It's a kind of a bigger database of all the credits higher education institution can give that benefit to the students. See, there is something called what is that issue of credit transfer, etc. So through a standard operating procedure, every institution, every student will get that unique ID, and accordingly the credits will be deposited. So so that there will be no any confusions in transferring their credits and awarding degrees. I think this gives a lot of flexibility for the entire system and a lot of opportunity for students to learn better and without any confusions and lot of problems whenever they go for this transfer from or shifting from one institution to another institution. So all this will get away with the ABC. So ABC will deposit credits awarded by every registered higher educational institution. So for whichever the courses student pursue, even it gives an opportunity for student to consider the online, because now blended learning is suggested by UGC. 40 up to 40% is allowed, the maximum limit. So if student take courses in SWAYAM, NPTEL or any other recognized online platform, if the university or college is giving that facility to the student, even the ABC will consider those credits and it will be accumulated in the student account. And finally, the student can definitely redeem this particular credits for the degree or diploma which they have applied for. And look at the last point is very important. For varying the duration as specified by the credit awarding and credit accepting higher education institution, subject to maximum duration of 7 years. So within 7 years, because that is what the latest UGC document says. So they can come back and continue the 7 years from there where they exit. That's one important thing. So credit obtained by students by undergoing even skill courses from the any recognized offerings of the skill in terms of degree, diploma, etc. So that will also become part of the ABC, because those programs and institutions are also become eligible. They're eligible to become part of ABC. So all this from 2021-22 academic year, any institution is becoming part of ABC, they are eligible to get the benefit of ABC. For carrying out the purpose of academic bank of credit, the commission may provide financial and administrative support for also the registered higher education institutions to take it forward and give that benefit to the students. Accredited by either NAAC or any other agencies like National Board of Accreditation. So NAAC now, A grade institutions are now at the first phase eligible to become part of the ABC, or even NBA accreditation with 675 scores, they are eligible. 100 NRF ranking institutions or similar ranking by any other accreditation body recognized by Government of India is eligible. So QS ranking institutions, 1000, they are eligible. So that means to become part of the ABC at the first phase, this is the eligibility criteria for higher education institutions, so that the quality institutions can become at the first level, at the first phase part of the ABC, including the institutions of eminence and national importance, they become the part of the academic bank of credit. So remaining in other institutions, the two things here. One is all other institutions gradually they must improve their quality parameters or grading so that they become part of the ABC. The very purpose of NEP is to make every institution a degree granting autonomous college, a graded autonomous status they must acquire. So thinking that every institution will gradually improve in their quality so that they will be part of this ABC in future some number of years. So every institution will have that opportunity to improve their quality and become part of ABC and give that facility to the learners. So every higher education institution, universities will have the responsibility of operationalize at an institution level, and even the faculty development, quality improvement program, professional development program, technology inclusion programs, etc. Very much required for to implement the ABC has to be addressed by the higher education institutions to effectively implement this ABC. So all recognized registered higher education institution encourage students to utilize this particular facility to develop their own portfolio of subjects and get the benefit of good teaching, learning from various sources, and they must earn the required credit from the institution where they registered to get the finally the diploma or degree. So that is also mentioned in the ABC. Whatever the credit they earn, that is fine, but where they have registered, enrolled from that institution, they will get the degree program, and the minimum credits what is required for students to earn from that institution is also specified. So these are the some of the highlights of ABC. It's already the reality. So let us understand many of the things in NEP is already a reality. It is now has come as a in different forms and in different shapes. Gradually, the governments are in the state level, central level, they are implementing, and a lot of preparatory work is also happening at the central state level. Of course, NAAC is also maybe doing a lot of work in terms of reshaping their quality criteria, etc. Slowly, it becomes to every institutions and individuals. We must be ready enough to take this, understand the spirit, and move ahead with our own requirements. By considering our own requirements, we must be NEP ready, basically, with that kind of competencies or whatever the required resources. We need to bring it all together and we must move towards. Let us understand all this we are doing for learner community, for not only for students. Basically, we are addressing the needs of our own society, our own country, by considering all the challenges that we are facing, not only today, even the days to come for next 20, 30 years. Because we normally claim that we have that demographic dividend advantage of young India. But unless others we train this young India, how we can get the benefit out of it? And let us understand this is a cycle. So after 20, 30 years, again the cycle will go down another shape. So unless otherwise we put our hard effort, and one thing is very important to bring all this effectiveness in all the sectors, education is the key. So that's where I think the education aids and the institutions must work towards reforms that is very much essential in our education system. The NEP is one such an opportunity for all of us to bring this contextual required things by considering the future of our own nation and challenges that our students are going to face. NEP is a context, it is an opportunity. But otherwise, also, we need to come out with all such things which we are doing now, where we need to move towards further improvement of quality in the education and whatever the programs that we are offering at the institution level. I think that's where we need to deliberate a lot. We need to develop some strategies in addition to what government gives to us. I think we need to look at the quality parameters and work towards implementation of NEP so that really we can make difference and provide that entire benefit pass on to the students, society, and nation at large. That is what my submission to all the institutions, the individuals or institutions, all the stakeholders of education. So thank you very much. Open for any questions we can discuss. If something is there you would like to contribute or any questions also, I don't mind. But finally, we must have the clarity in terms of implementation of NEP 2020 effectively at the grassroots level. So over to you, Vishnu sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation about the NEP, especially you elaborated the how to implement in the higher education institution, especially that awareness part you were given wonderfully. Now I request the participants to ask the questions. I request ICT Pusha Lakshmi madam, you can unmute the participants who are all raised the hands so that they can ask the questions orally.
Yes, sir. I request the participant to raise their virtual hand if they have any questions. Dr. Mahalakshmi, you may ask your question.
Good afternoon. So my question is, if a student exits in diploma and again the student wants to come back after 7 years, you said he's admitted. But in case if he wants to,
is given, 7 years window is given from the time of exit.
yes, sir. And supposing if he wants to join in any other course, for example, if he's exiting from diploma with microbiology and suddenly he wants to join for the third year in biotechnology, is he allowed to do that?
No, it is not like that. So, for example, initially, he will enroll for certain particular undergraduate program. So, I call it as a multidisciplinary undergraduate program, where this combination is available at your university or college. Then only he will be eligible to continue the education from there. So otherwise, he has to continue with the same stream for which he is enrolled. But you have
Okay, sir.
the inbuilt flexibility in terms of different combinations, where he started this program like that in the very beginning of your first year admission, but he has not gone through the major minor because he has, at the second year he has exited from the course. Then he will be having that opportunity. So otherwise, it is not possible.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
How you need to build your program and regulations.
Okay, sir. Fine, sir. Thank you so
If
much.
at all if at all it is giving any value to the students, if he is able to change as per your own disciplinary understanding, then I think you need to inbuild that. You must give that opportunity.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Dr. Ganesh Vaidyanathan, you may ask your question.
Yes, madam. Thank you. Sir, good afternoon, Mr. Joshi, sir. It was a very nice presentation. See, I'm from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, Sri Perumbudur, in the state of Tamil Nadu. I just have one question, sir. See, you were giving a very nice presentation, and very clearly you elaborated about the multiple entry and exit system. See, I thought it's basically it has been facilitated to improve the GER in higher education, because the students now need not continuously pursue, till the end of their program, maybe for any reason, like if he has to exit at some point of time to say carry out some job, he can probably exit at the first year level or second year level, and when he is exiting, depending on the duration completed, he will be getting either a certificate or diploma. Now, this I think this facilitation has been right now done, keeping in mind that we are more flexible in terms of allowing them to join back anytime and complete their degree, and so it's a very good move. But my question is, sir, like with the current curriculum, whatever is offered by the institutions, like say someone is exiting at the certificate level or the diploma level, with the current curriculum that is being offered, whether this certificate or diploma will still enable this person to get a job at that level, or you think it should be supported by suitable vocational support? Because see, someone going with a certificate should also be able to get a job proportionate to that level of learning. So do you think, in your opinion, it should be done only to facilitate their completion of degree at any point of time, depending on their convenience, or you feel it should also be suitably, because now the existing curriculum will certainly not support them in getting a job if they exit at the first year level? Because if you take engineering, at the first year level, we teach only maths, physics, chemistry, sir, and not anything about engineering. Second year, they just get introduced, and subsequently we take them forward. So with this kind of curriculum, someone exiting at the first year level, though we may say is got some credits equivalent to a certificate level, he will not be anyway be able to get a job, even at a lower level. So what is your opinion about it, sir? You think it should be...
You are absolutely right, sir. Because you should create value for the student, or it should give that synergy to the student in terms of employment, if you think about that. So you are very much on the line. So that's the reason I have also mentioned about this. This particular entire 3 or 4 year program has to achieve a different level exit point. They must achieve certain level of skill development. So now, and right now, it is integrated with the national skill framework. There is a national skill qualification framework in our country. So if we go with certificate program after first year, he must achieve that skill requirement. Second year, certain level of skill requirement. Third year, like that, it is grade 5, level 5, 6, 7, whatever the framework is there, it must be in par with that. If the student is able to complete that first year with that kind of a level of skill development, he will be definitely able to get some kind of an employment. Don't think that it will be in par with the student who complete the degree program. Definitely not. At that certification level, with that kind of a skill which is he has completed in the first year of his program or 2 years of his program, accordingly he will definitely get some suitable job or employment, or he can make his own livelihood through his own entrepreneurship, whatever. So that is possible. So actually, it is envisioned like that only. The new curricula has to achieve this levels of different skill requirement, or even I call it as in the days to come, National Higher Education Qualification Framework. It will have the skill component also. It will be integrated, both skill and the academic or whatever that you call as knowledge component. So this qualification framework, if we are able to achieve the different levels, then student will have the employment opportunity. So our program must be in that way. We must develop our program in such a way. So that is the requirement. So that's the gap between the existing system and what is a new system envisioned in the policy or how we operationalize it.
Yes, sir. Then it serves the double purpose. Yeah. Thank you so much for Thanks for
Yes,
the
thank you.
clarification.
It
Bye,
has a
sir.
dual objective. Absolutely
Thank you,
right.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Shankar, you may ask a question.
Good afternoon, sir. We listened to the session. It was very much useful. Actually, we are from a pharmacy background. I'm talking from PSG College of Pharmacy, Coimbatore. Sir, we are affiliated to university, and we are not in autonomous, but we are having this NAAC accreditation, and we are in NARF ranking also. So the problem of like your certificate course, what is that, a diploma and this credit bank system, we don't have the linearity. In this case, how we can do it?
One thing you need to educate me. This pharmacy comes under regular programs under UGC or
Yeah.
health or medical education.
It is a regular program by Pharmacy Council of India and All India Council of Technical Education.
Then fine, because Medical Council of India and law both are not coming under NEP right now.
Okay.
Sir, one this certification diploma, it is not we are developing any certificate or diploma courses. That's what my first statement when I was talking about the 4-year undergraduate program. It is a degree program where for reasons students go out of the formal education system for various personal reasons. The percentage may be very small, but we need to consider them also as a part of inclusivity and improving the GER. So if for such students, if they exit at first year, second year, so there will be a provision of recognizing their learning of 1 year, 2 years. With that certification, they can get some kind of a livelihood if it is necessary for that. That's the whole idea.
Okay. Okay.
Possible in what is your question? I understood like this. In pharmacy, it is not possible. If they go with one useful, like
because already it is a 4-year program. So whether we have to do programs parallelly to achieve the skill set like that, that is my question.
yeah,
And
see, so one thing, as a pharmacy course, you may have a lot of pharmacy requirements in terms of knowledge and professional skills, what I call pharmacy as a course. But there are certain general skills which are very essential for every student. Any graduate who go out of the college, they must be equipped with these generic skills that develop bare minimum competencies among the students. You call it as 21st century skills, or you call it as certain generic graduate attributes. What is that you call it as? You take straight away the 21st century skills. It has all the 3 components. We definitely make students to get his livelihood in one or the other way. So with that kind of a first year pharmaceutical knowledge, if he is not able to get that core job of pharmaceutical industry, but somewhere he will be able to earn something for his life. That is one possible, some kind of an employment. Otherwise also, it will recognize his 1-year learning. And if you would like to come back after some number of years, the window is given 7 years now, let us at this particular point of time. So the student can come and continue his course. So that's all I.
so that is to fill the gaps. We have to find the ways also. That is.
It is better, sir. It is better. That is what I suggest.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
I request participants to kindly, very brief question, point to point kindly ask, because so many people are there. So another 15-20 minutes, we will take question answers. So I request participants to just bullet wise, you can ask the questions. Pusha madam, you can unmute.
Yes. Dr. Nallikant Gon, you may ask your question. Nalinkant. Raman Nanjian.
Professor Raman, Emeritus Professor from Madras University. I have two questions, sir. One is, it is a good news that the new education policy has 4 years degree course. The question is, 3 years completion, you will get a bachelor's degree, and 4 years completion, degree 4 years UG program it is mentioned. What is the degree it is called?
Okay. I have two answers here, but I will clarify also what is that. One is a policy. If you look at the policy document, it says 4-year multidisciplinary undergraduate program. The nomenclature right now that institutions and the authorities are using is 3-year bachelor degree, as you said, 4-year honors degree, and 4th year honors degree plus research is also possible. That's another option.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Another question is, it is a multidisciplinary educational system. So in that case, whether a science college or arts college will get engineering courses or some pharmacy courses or other courses.
So of course, that's the approach. Humanities and social science can be integrated in some way with the science and technology courses. Similarly, possible the vice versa. So synergetically, we have to do this integration of different disciplines. And AICTE already has issued some guidelines towards engineering education, where humanities and social science is also brought. Sometimes it is not just bringing the subject, it is integrating that subject with the mainstream education or the core discipline, so that it complements and it helps the students to develop that kind of a perspective. So for that, I think every institution need to work a lot to bring that kind of combinations, or even guide the students to make such kind of subject portfolio. So of course it is, so humanities and social science will be part of the even the technical education. I think the premier institutions and institutions of national importance are already have implemented this.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. M.V. Ali. Dr. M.V. Ali, you may ask your question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. You had given an excellent presentation, sir. Thank you. I have two questions, sir. The first question is, the BWOC programs, the inception was of BWOC programs had taken place at least 2 decades back. But still, we don't have, people don't understand about the significance of the program, and admissions are very less, particularly in the southern part. And the NEP also kind of gives multiple entry exit opportunity like in the BWOC program. How will be the acceptance of the people, sir? That is the first question. The second question is, if a child exit with diploma after the first year, after the second year, and wishes to join the degree program after a break of 2 years, will the child have both the diploma certificate as well as the degree certificate with her or him? Thank you, sir.
Okay. I think with the exit, with multi-entry exit or without that, we need to entirely redesign the BWOC courses. Because there is a perception that students who are not able to get into the normal education or the mainstream education, we call it as mainstream education, BWOC is still not considered as a perceptual wise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Of mainstream education, we need to give that recognition to BWOC courses, and it is one of the degree program like any other degree program. So that is what the main objective of NEP. So that is possible only with making the BWOC courses more relevant, and according to the, if we are able to develop the curricula in different areas which are very much required for the demand side, where the industry required, because BWOC courses are directly linked to vocational employment, job, or enterprises, etc. So if that kind of demand is able to meet, in terms of developing that vocational skill for each of the program, then these BO courses will become more relevant. Recently heard some of the premier institutions, they have started these BO courses in relevant areas today where the industry requires. And they are taking the help of some specific industry to develop that courses. So if you are able to give that kind of recognition for the courses which you develop at the university level or at the college level, so then only it is possible to have the BO courses in the mainstream education perceptual wise. So NEP talks about that, number one. Number two, multi-entry exit, even it is applicable for, if it is, let us see the regulations for that. If it is comes for BO courses, suitably that candidate will have that kind of skill. Only to that extent he will be able to cater to the needs of the industry. It is not equivalent to 3-year degree program. So he will fit in some level of work at the industry, because if you take the full BO course, he may become a completely a different person altogether in the job market. But it is not same as certificate or diploma. So that's the reason accordingly they get the job. So there will be some kind of a suitability, and this policy, while drafting the policy itself, it has been a lot discussed with the even industry and industry bodies, and the skill framework what is there now available, and we will also get the qualification framework in the days to come. So it will definitely take care of the requirements of one of the important stakeholders, that is the industry or any other job providers. To answer to your second question, diploma, he will exit with diploma, but when he completes the credit requirement for an UG program, it becomes automatically a degree holder. So automatically his recognition is more of a degree that includes the credits he earned during the diploma program. It is just as a continuation of his education. So I think this is a very good question you asked. So he cannot claim that I have a diploma, I have an undergraduate program.
Yes, sir.
Student
Yes,
can
sir.
undergraduate program. I think accordingly the regulations has to be set both at the center level and at the every university level. Right, in the days to come, we will have more clarity on this in terms of regulations.
Thank you
These
so
are
much.
two programs. He cannot climb like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. Chitra Srinivasan.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Dr. Chitra Srinivasan from Puttranam Sri Parasati College, which comes under Manoanmaniyam Sundaranath University. My question is, the focus of NEP is fantastic, but in the implementation, two things are being much given importance. One is about the dropouts. My question is, why the dropouts are being considered in the implementation level itself? Why we are giving much importance to the dropouts? Second thing is, how the vocational training is to be implemented with the existing teachers who have come with the theoretical knowledge only, like physics, chemistry, or something like that. Already we have started value-added courses, but certain courses we need people from outside. So any special training is to be given to the teachers. I would like to know about that. This is my question. My long doubt is this one. How is it is going to be implemented with the college existing teachers? Thank you, sir. Kindly answer.
Dropout. See, that's what we need to understand the multi-dimensional approach of this particular exit entry policy. One is, let us say, it is for flexibility of students. We'll have this exit and entry. But one important aspect is dropout at the higher education level. Why it has been given more importance? Because a general, even though it is not the majority of the students, there are certain good percentage, even 5% is a very big number, because 80% of the students terminal degree is undergraduate program. In that again 5% will, for what reason they are going out? It is for our social reasons, personal, what you call, I call it as social reasons in many places. In such cases, why can't we recognize their learning of 1 year, 2 year. That's the whole idea, number one. Number two, when you think about this entire 4-year undergraduate program, this exit at first level, first year, second year, if they even drop out for the reasons which they quote or for many genuine reasons, why can't we deny to get the benefit of those 2 years in terms of employment or in terms of getting involved in some kind of a income generation process? If this certificates or diploma helps them, I think it is nothing like that. So even we need to make the students to have that entire 4-year degree program with all our counseling and other strategies. In addition to that, we need to give this kind of facilities for students. So that's the reason the dropout is one of the issues that has been considered. Actually, the main focus is improving the GE ratio, the general enrollment to the higher education. So 50% target is kept all over India. So for that reason, a lot of other flexibility has been inbuilt within the NEP and specifically in the academic programs. That's the answer for your first question.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed the second question. Can you just repeat in a sentence? What is your second question?
My second question is the vocational training that it's an important part of this new education policy. For that,
Yeah, okay,
how
I
it is?
understood. Sorry, madam, I understood your question now. The
Yeah,
vocational
fine.
education as a BO course is okay. They are specialized and they will teach that. In the normal degree program also, vocational comment must be integrated. So one is the existing faculty member has to undergo a lot of training. That is very essential for various purposes. Number one, in terms of their subject knowledge, I think most of the faculty will be definitely good. They will have in-depth knowledge. They will update themselves. Otherwise, they have to go through such kind of courses to enhance their subject knowledge online or whatever otherwise. Second one, for innovative pedagogy, which is very much required to teach the subject. Every subject will have some kind of an application. So this application is linked to skill development and professional or vocational skill development also. If any faculty is having that kind of a gap, it comes from purely academic background of existing education system, I think they need to undergo a lot of training program, must be organized by university level, college level, because policy talks about even empowerment of faculty through a lot of continuous professional development. So it should happen at both the university level and also at the college level. So training.
Generalized training, sir. Is it generalized training? The student
No, it is not
studying
actually
in
generalized.
southern part
See,
will have the same experience vocational training in the north side also. Is it a generalized one? The quality will
see,
vary,
the
no,
thing
sir?
is, certain training programs are required, generalized training is required. And certain things is not generalized trainings. It is depending upon the course or the skill which is required for that particular faculty or a group of faculty. And also, if necessary, to consider the region. If it is such kind of, I think it is also essential. But based on geographically, whether it has to be completely differentiate, I don't think so. But contextualization of each of the training program is essential. So it has to be designed at the better, always designed with a framework. If at all we get a framework for such training at the national level, it is fine. Otherwise, it can be designed at the university level so that we'll have a direction to get that kind of training faculty.
Otherwise, the quality will not be same everywhere.
No, it is not the issue.
Quality.
So it is not. It's the quality of the issue with the trainer, how he deliver it and how the faculty perceive it, or how the faculty take it. So there is the matter. It is not in developing a framework. It is actually how you deliver the training and how the faculty involved in that complete.
How the students are going to be benefited. That is the measure of that. The outcome-based education. That's the only.
Of course. Whether students are able to demonstrate, I think you are done with your very program, your objective of your entire teaching learning process. So outcome-based learning will ensure it normally, and faculty has to, with self-motivation, they have to involve in this entire process of learning. So that's the reason somebody mentioned in one of the book, an education institution is the place where learner interacts with learners. If we come out with that attitude, I think nothing is impossible, and we will learn on their own. We will not wait for somebody to give the training. We look for opportunities, and also sometimes we will demand that facilities to be or training to be given to us, and we will learn it. and any such opportunities will not miss. That is what my motive for learning and then teaching.
But how much percentage of credit must be given to the vocation and all? It has to be decided. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah, actually, there is only some guidelines available now from the even UGC, major, minor, then your foundational courses, including vocational skill development and language, etc. And then the research component. I think it has to be regularized first through regulations and other things. And I think it is more of every university need to think a lot, deliberate a lot, and they need to develop with an integrated approach without diluting the any purpose of that entire program which they are going to develop and offer. Now, in the days to come, universities will have a lot of such autonomy and that builds accountability of institutions.
More financial support is needed, sir, to implement everything.
Many of the things, except for the if there is a requirement for faculty development, many of these academic things are not required really much investment in terms of infrastructure, etc. It is basically the faculty development. Even after developing the new undergraduate program, we must enable the faculty to deliver it properly. I think we need to invest a lot on the academic things than the other part.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Jayaraman Gurunathan.
Need lot of mentoring for institutions, including universities.
Hello, are you here, ma'am?
Yeah, Dr.
Please.
Jayaraman, you may ask.
Yes. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks to Dr. Joshi for a wonderful, informative, and excellent presentation. I have two questions. One, it's almost answered. Let me correct if I have understood it right. The first one is with regard to the regulations. This need to be reframed both at central level as well as at the institute level, because we're talking about students taking courses from different universities, recognized universities or colleges as well, with the guidelines that have been given. So it depends on the core courses or elective courses at different categories or multidisciplinary. So is there a need for a complete revamp of the regulations, both at the center as well as for the institute level? If I have understood it right?
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Okay. Second, second question is on your thoughts on the bachelor's in liberal education, because the new education policy also talks about the bachelor's in liberal education, wherein the student has a multidisciplinary and not focused on a particular discipline. So what are your thoughts on this?
So basically, the policy talks about only multidisciplinary. Even I call it as liberal arts education or liberal arts and science education or liberal education approach.
Education.
Policy is not talking about your commerce, science, arts, BCom, BSc, BBA. It is nowhere it is mentioned like that. So that means every course, every program has to have this approach of multidisciplinary. That is very essential in the present day requirement, and also by considering the lot of changes happening at the economy and the industry level. That is what the challenges we are perceiving. So by keeping that in mind, every program have this approach of multidisciplinary. And today, now a pure liberal arts programs are there. We are completely out of this regular programs which UGC approves normally. There are few universities are offering in India, and abroad many are. And if you go back to our own history also, it is available in Indian context. Nothing new for us. The thing is, this is why this liberal arts program or bachelor degrees are there, because we have a rigid system of offering BCom, BBA, and we are following it from number of years. It works out well for us so far, and we are doing it. Nothing wrong in that. But now we need to have a different approach towards our entire education. So there is a need for a cultural shift. So from the individual institution level and then the entire education system level. So we are heading towards that. So every program must have the component of a liberal arts approach must be that, without losing the disciplinary importance. Then every program will become more relevant for students to approach their real life situations. So that is the entire framework which is envisioned in the NEP. So till we get clarity on all this, we do a lot of experiments or with some kind of approach we follow. In that is one is your liberal arts bachelor degree in liberal arts. But otherwise, we got it as 4-year undergraduate program is actually multidisciplinary program with holistic nature. That is nothing but your approach to liberal arts. In the
Yeah,
days of
definitely.
so we no
Yes.
need to have a special program on liberal arts, but right now it
Okay.
is there. Parallel it runs for some time.
Mm.
It's a transition period. Let us understand.
So definitely it's the integration of liberal arts with the normal education that we're talking about
Education.
for science. But then we have the degree that has been mentioned, the job opportunities for those students. If the degree mentions that it's a bachelor in liberal education, that's what of course, it's a transition stage and a lot of
Work has to be done. So even if you're not going to nomenclature, if the existing nomenclature is going to change, it is not clear right now. There is no such regulations at this point of time. Whether BCom will be there, whether it will be called as BSc BCom, that is immediate because when you call a 4-year undergraduate program, it will have a major and minor that specifies in what student is specialized.
Thank you.
That is what the degree program actually.
Okay.
Sir, can we take another 2 questions, sir? Is it okay for you, sir?
Yeah, another 2 minutes is fine with me.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Sharda Ramesh. Shyam.
Yes. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the presentation. My questions are related to the academic bank of credit that you talked about. 2 clarifications to seek. From what I understood, the main purpose is to give the control to the student. They can accumulate credits from whichever source they want, including authorized MOOCs. So suppose they come to an institution after in the fag end, let's say they take only some 10% of the courses from the last institution they attend. Is it that the last institution they attend award the degree or whatever certification is there?
Sir, they need to enroll for a particular program at particular institution.
Okay.
There, their account will be created or developed. So from that enrolled institutions, they must earn really 50% of the credits of that particular program. So that institution or university will offer the degree. The rest he can earn from all other sources, eligible recognized sources. So where he enroll, he must earn 50% of the credit. So that will be in their bank account. That where the bank account will be developed, unique ID will be given. So that university or the institution will offer or award the degree. It will ABC clearly specifies to award the degree and recognition of credits.
Okay, so it is not that the last course that he takes.
It is
where
they enroll. And there is credits requirement also to award the degree.
And is the last part is, sir, how to decide whether the credits he has accumulated is suitable for whatever is the degree or diploma. Is that part of the regulations that you are referring to in answer
of
to the
course.
LX?
Actually, the exact year and regulation number I don't know. UGC in some regulation they mentioned to award a particular degree, 50% if the student is achieved credits in that particular discipline, in that discipline degree can be awarded. The existing regulations.
Okay.
Even ABC is there now. It talks about all this, whatever that you are raised question now. And further, every program will have its own requirement. So according to that program requirement, if he earns the credits, then he will become eligible to get the degree, whether it is ABC or otherwise.
Okay, so that is the discretion of the university where he has registered.
Yeah, your program will be there.
Okay.
So according to your program, so student can enroll to the program. The requirement of the degree awarding must be fulfilled. So there will be a kind of a framework available in entire country, but it is not entire program is not common to all the universities and colleges. So that university will have that, but certain requirements will be common to most of the institutions, if not the content. That's where the framework will come into picture. Qualification framework, skill framework. You achieve that level. Whether the subject is very relevant or not, the question is secondary. But if we for that particular degree program, as per the requirement, he achieved the credit, earned it from different places, then this university will award the degree.
Okay, thank you very much.
And all this will have little, and it has clarity. I urge every academician who involved in this university and college processes to go through these documents, which is available in public domain. Even the policy of 400 pages document by Kasurangan Committee report, 60 pages of cabinet approved NEP, at least that document, ABC, blended learning, multidisciplinary exit entry document. It takes you through, go through that document is very essential to be more contemporary in the education system today. And you need to educate and address the students' questions and counsel them. I think it is my request to all of you to go through these documents. Thank you. Thanks for that question. It has brought a lot of clarity.
Thank you, sir. Vishnu,
Can we go for a last question? If all it is there, we can take.
can we take one last question, sir?
A last question. Yes, yes.
Yes, madam. We will take last question and we will finish. I think questions
Professor
are.
Dr. Raman Rangarajan.
Yeah. Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. I've got two questions. I'll shortly finish it up because of time. First,
Yes.
you said in your presentation within 15 years, the affiliated system will go away and there will be around about 3,000 standalone institutions to be aimed at. Is it right, sir?
Sir, actually, whichever affiliated colleges are there now under whichever university, all such affiliated college should become autonomous degree granting college over a period of 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. In that case,
They must be, and there is actually, as per the policy, every standalone institution which are offering single disciplinary courses also should become multidisciplinary institution.
thanks, sir. In that case, who will give the degree and who will recognize the degree, sir?
Actually, this every autonomous degree granting college, it is called as degree granting college, autonomous degree granting college. So that college or in higher education institution will award the degree, not like the existing autonomous system.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and through a particular regulations. So
That's right. My last question is, in case of this academic credit transfer, how it will reflect in the mark sheet and who will monitor this, sir?
No, actually, the entire is technology driven. The entire credits, the student, for example, student takes courses from different universities and enrolled in one particular college. Even that, but with the particular unique ID, which college or the institution or the university will come to know what the credit students has earned. So it is entire centrally recognized, centrally developed technology will have that all facility for the students to deposit, redemption, transfer of all the credits.
So the center system will ensure.
Yeah, definitely. System will ensure and the universities wherever required.
Thank you, sir. So kind of you for your.
We'll have more understanding of this technology part also from the regulatory agencies.
Yeah, sure. Hope that we will implement as early as possible.
Yes, with the spirit of helping the system and students, larger community. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Actually, I thank the NAAC and all the participants for giving me this opportunity to interact with the learned audience. It's a learning for me again on the NAAC platform. So I congratulate the director and the entire team of NAAC for creating this wonderful opportunity for all the academicians to interact on the NEP implementation. As it says, we are doing a lot of work on the NEP implementation, supporting institutions to implement at the grassroots level, faculty training, and other things under the initiative called NEP Ready. So that is what we are doing. My final bottom line for this particular session is, where there is a will, there is a way. Thanks a lot. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, actually, you covered a lot of things in this presentation. Especially, you cleared a maximum doubts of the participants. Actually, we thought up to 12:30 we are planning, but actually, half an hour we taken extra to clarify the doubts of the participants, and also huge
There's a
response from the
generosity of
Tamil
the
Nadu.
NAC.
Yeah, 1,000+ participants are there in the webinar, and another 1,000+ participants are watching live YouTube. So once again, I'm very much thankful to you on behalf of NAC family, and also my personal behalf. I thank you very much for the presentation and all support completing this webinar very grand successfully. I thank
Thank
Dr.
you. Thank you.
Shamsundar sir, senior most advisor sir, Dr. D.K. Kamble, Dr. N.R. Mohan, assistant advisors to support this program successfully. And also I mainly thank our all ICT people, Samuel sir, Ramya Kumar, Pushalakshmi madam especially, to given the support to complete this task with technical support. Thank you very much. I thank all the participants from Tamil Nadu, Vice Chancellor, Principal, IQSC Coordinator, professors, everyone. Thank you one and all for attending this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Pushalakshmi, you can close the webinar.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll be closing the session.